What we are is human beings. We human beings, deserving of respect of one another. And we're not getting that from who? We're not getting it from government. And they're dividing us. Ain't nothing between us but air and opportunity. Give me a hug. Give me a hug.
We are more than being human. See? We are liquid crystals.
Look, I want to hug you, yeah. I want to hug.
We are stardust.
It don't matter.
We are beyond the false powers and principles of the dollar bill and an invasive colonizing government.
In a free country, you know what we could do? We can be who we want.
I want to marry who I want to marry.
You marry who you want. You know what? What business does government have in the institution of marriage, which is sacred between you and your fate and your family? You know what? Marriage licenses exist out of racist policies. This is a historical fact. It was so that whites and blacks could not marry.
Right.
It's so that the government could decide who could love who. That was it. That was all that a marriage license was predicated upon. And in all 50 states, it is unconstitutional and should be abolished because I don't need the state to be a third party in my relationship.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is a business. It's a $50 billion a year industry. That's why these attorneys charge $350, $400 an hour. Because they know if they take your kids, if they take your children from you, you will do everything in your power to fight back to get them back.
Like
You will
on the White
spend
House.
everything. You will break your back. You will go to the White House. You'll go to the damn White House.
I dropped $5,000 on an attorney to have him tell me, shut up and play the game.
Yeah.
Shut up and play the game. Hey, mine said, that dirtbag Ronald Bell, you know what he told me? He said, he looked at me the day I'm sitting in court and says, what makes you think you even deserve joint custody? I don't know. You want to see how I made the kids? Because that's what I'm going to do to your face real quick. I don't deserve joint custody? Are you kidding me? $85,000 for attorneys. How much does the average person have in a bank account? Sitting right now. The average American family is just a couple paychecks away from poverty.
97 cents.
The average American family,
97 cents.
yeah,
American family.
I roll in at the end of the month.
They closed mine.
The poverty has increased so much. 20% are at the poverty level right now.
Well, think about it. Why are we more likely to live in poverty? Let's talk about our children again.
Because of a corrupt fucking government.
That's correct.
Everything
Let-
they do is destruction.
Let's talk about the specifics, though. Let's get to the specifics because one, we have to be encouraged to say names. Okay, like I say my judge's names all the time, and everybody's like, Cash, don't say your judge's name. You're not going to see your kids. Think about that for a moment. If I can't criticize my judge, if I can't criticize a government official without fear of reprisal, that's tyranny. Is it not? If I cannot criticize my judge and speak their name, Judge Joseph Salvi, you're a coward. Judge Janelle Christensen, you're a coward.
Judge Dinsky, you kidnapping my kids in the state of Florida. Give me my kids back. I want
Give
you to be held
him
accountable.
back.
All of y'all judges, yeah? Judge Harold Coward, Carol Howard, free me. You charge me for aggravated UUW. I have a FOIA card. I have concealed carry. That's unlawful. That's unconstitutional. Free me.
Your FOIA card's unconstitutional too. You know FOIA card. You know what you, it is a setup. It's a setup. That's exactly right. You have a right to defend your life. One of the greatest lies perpetuated in this nation, and has primarily affected the black community in this specific area, is the right to defend oneself utilizing the Second Amendment right. And what's happening? Our buddy Mars in jail. That's what these judges deserve to be. Huh? They think you're right. They do believe. They do believe that they're.
Bruce Wise attorney, Mitch Tindall,
Hey.
jail,
Jim. Who writes the laws? Legislators. What profession predominantly makes up legislators?
Lawyers.
Lawyers. Lawyers. Lawyers. Now, who prosecutes you?
Be careful, we got little eyes now.
Yeah. We'll watch our language.
We gotta watch our mouth.
We're going to watch our language.
Little people.
We'll exercise our free speech responsibly in the vicinity of children. At least I will.
And please pay my church back. Those lawyers who stole money from my church, please pay all my church members back their fines.
Pay them back.
Pay all of my church members back their money.
It is the American Bar Association, and yes, ma'am, and all of the state bar associations that are writing the laws and defending their industries. You know what? Hey, think about this. When they said you can't do cannabis, right? So my buddy, he did 30 years for cannabis, or he was serving a 30-year sentence.
He should be out right now.
Hold on, wait. In Illinois, he was in Illinois serving. Right. He was serving a 30-year sentence for cannabis. At 19 years old, he went into prison. He got out 15 years later. My buddy did 15 years in prison. Now, he had a lot of cannabis. I ain't gonna lie to you. It don't matter. I agree. He could have had a semi-truck for all I care. But here's the thing. They labeled him a Class X offender. They said he could not be rehabilitated. My buddy's in Stanford right now. In Stanford. He don't smoke. He don't drink. He doesn't advocate for the use of drugs. He accepts responsibility for choosing to break, at that time, the law. But any law repugnant to our Constitution is no law. That is no law.
I gotta say something when it comes to marijuana, which we call manna in the scriptures. Baby, that's healing to our nation. So whoever thought that something that Yahweh, my heavenly Father, put on this earth as a natural herb is an illegal drug, you wrong. It's medicine. And whoever unlocks somebody else for smoking manna, you wrong. And you all of them in jail for manna smoking need to be given a settlement and released immediately because it makes no sense. It helps with PTSD, anxiety, cancer. Everything that heals your body, marijuana has something to do with it.
More people die from prescription drugs than they do from pot.
Thank you for prescription medicine, but they want to make money off of it. Putting
I try to not. I don't even take Advil. I don't have to.
Manna for me. Manna for me. They doing it. They do it. Yep. Yeah. Judges and attorneys, they're doing it all. They're doing coke, they're doing X, they're running all kinds of crazy, they're doing it all. Prostitution, they are doing it all. And we think, you see the judge out of Pennsylvania, there's a judge in Pennsylvania who was selling kids. He was selling kids to a for-profit juvenile detention facility. They did bust him. He went to prison, but guess what? They let him out of prison in Florida because he was at risk of COVID. He's at risk of COVID. He sold kids. He sold kids.
And did everybody else in that same jail get released for the reason of COVID? No. Put him back in jail. Go lock him back.
Put his ass back in there.
Don't collect him. Don't let him run out this country. Don't let none of these politicians run out the country that have violated our human and civil rights. We all got a right to sue this country under the color of law. That's what I'm doing. I'm suing the country for all of us. Forget it.
You do it.
Garden Road Project.
That manna is a weed. That CBD and THC should be eaten.
It talks about it in the scriptures. Yahweh put that here.
Not in the black creatures that are abused, mutilated, males murdered, females raped, babies stolen, stealing the fruits of her labor, her milk, and murdering her when she's no longer economically profitable. What you do is us vile on the same level.
We do. What do you do? What do you do? They should. You know what? I guarantee you, if we were to take, I bet you this. I bet you we could take Black Lives Matter, and I bet you we could take any far right group, and I bet you if we marched out into a cornfield and we all just sat down and we all smoked a bunch of weed and we talked about what human beings should be talking about, our children, our families, making a better environment, building our communities. I guarantee you, if we did that, we wouldn't have the problems that we have. We wouldn't have the issues that we have. You tell me why. You said you're from the south side of Chicago, right? You said you're from the south side? I went down to the south side while I was running for governor. I was down around, I think I was in Roseland. And I'm looking at all these big empty lots that were like this, you know, with like 6-foot fences. Why aren't these gigantic community gardens? Why don't we have art and culture going through there? Why can't we go down in there and experience these things together? You tell.
Because they want that to be a concentration community.
The Bible says, the meek inherit the earth. We are here to claim our inheritance, our future, and our children now.
Let me ask you guys, have y'all ever considered, I want to just throw this out there, have you ever considered voting libertarian or joining a third party, the Green Party or another party? Have y'all ever noticed all of their problems? No, we don't. But what? Why don't we? Why don't we just walk away from all of them? It's the same two parties that have been in control for how long?
That's what I did. I already walked.
Forever. It's the same two. You know, it takes the red ones and the blue ones to sign the same legislation. It's not just, it ain't all Democrats. It's not all Republicans. It's all of them.
How about laying
Is it not?
foundation on the most powerful foundation that was ever written, and that's the Most High Yahweh, God? How about that? How about a country do that? How about we go back to doing the right thing instead of thinking we better than what was already written?
Bring that passion. I love it.
Now, how about that?
I
How
love
about us go back to the foundation and say, forget their system because it didn't work, but his system worked. Right. Because it's already written.
It's already written.
In the beginning and the end. So why are we even having an argument about it? We're going to land on the right foundation, Yahweh, the Most High, Yahshua, the Messiah, who already gave his life for us. So we don't got to tolerate what they talking about in that politician office, because that's the path I'm following, the Most High's path, Yahweh. So that's whoever want to be on that one, that's who I want to talk to.
You walking the walk. Hold on.
Yeah.
Well, this gentleman over here raising his hand. What you got to say, sir?
Just relating back to what you said about the Libertarian Party.
Come here. Yeah, you can use this. Hey, go ahead. If you guys can.
Just relating back to what you said about the Libertarian Party, one of the things that I've often wondered is why haven't we taken the best of both parties and combined it into synthesis like we're supposed to? Because the right I see has very good economic policy, but the left has very good social progressive policies. Why don't we combine it together and form a new party to move forward as a country?
That's a great damn question.
I said that 4 years ago and I was attacked.
Of course, yeah, we all do. We all get it. You get it from both sides.
I was attacked by the government because that was one of my ideas when I wanted to. I won't be the president.
What's the best of both worlds?
I didn't want to do the job. That was one of the ideas, was that I was going to merge both parties together and then use all of their ideas. And they was like, nope.
You know where you already have it?
Make money.
You know where you already have it? You already have it in the Libertarian Party.
Yep.
Libertarian Party, and I didn't know this, Libertarian Party has long existed, and they've got some policies that I disagree with. I don't agree with everything, and that's hard to find, right? It's hard to find something where you agree on every single front, okay? But here's where I do agree. I want government out of my life. Whatever money I make, let me keep it. Most of us don't mind spending some money in taxes. We don't mind paying some taxes. I would say taxation is theft. It is, because they take it.
It is against the scriptures to charge your brother and sister's taxes on your own land, period. So we ain't paying taxes in here.
They take it.
Period.
They take it under threat of force.
Well, guess what?
Under threat of force,
Guess
right?
what? They could kiss America, the real Yahweh laws away, because he says
I love
We
you.
don't pay taxes to your brother and sisters on your own land. So that's a complete abomination against Yahweh law. So no.
Yeah. So we want government out, right? And that is in essence the Libertarian Party. They want government out of your life. They want you, whatever money you make, to keep that money. What's so wrong about that?
Hold on, wait. One more thing. We ain't never made money in poverty, sweetie, so we want what we deserve.
Bring it. Come on.
It ain't no we got everybody got something because we ain't never had nothing. We always was put stumbling blocks before his people. It's time to remove those stumbling blocks and give the people what they deserve. And that's talking about all people. We talking about eliminating poverty and middle class, and we all just the same as a human being to work together and have something common to do. Stop using because we need to survive. And then we don't want to be bored while we surviving.
We can eliminate poverty.
Yeah, and we're going to.
We're going to.
We're going to eliminate homelessness, hunger, all that.
You want to run for office with me?
I was.
Well, now come on now. You a talker.
I told you I was gonna run for president, and then I was attacked by Donald Trump in his office. So I'd rather just do my Golden Rule project.
When you said that, you don't mean like literally in his office. You mean like by the administration. Is that what you're saying?
I mean he hired people to threaten me throughout the last couple of years of my life since I started protesting against the military and wanting to sue them under the color of law. So I was threatening a lot. By them, even since I was out here, when I was by myself out here, they threatened me a lot that they gonna kill me, my family, and friends. So I just rather be chill, so I ain't got to worry about all that bodyguard stuff.
I don't need no bodyguard.
I want to be a normal citizen. I don't want to feel like
I got a
gotta
bodyguard.
be like them just to be.
I got one right up here.
A politician. So that's not my idea. I don't want to be a politician if I gotta have all that stuff and I can't come outside and talk to you.
I'm getting nervous. This guy
Go
over
to the store.
He's creeping up on me. He's Secret Service or something. Yeah, we're creeping up on me. I'm like, this guy getting rush me or something. I'm like, he's pretty athletic. Yeah, go ahead.
My idea of leadership is just different than their idea of leadership, and I don't think that as a leader you're supposed to be hiding behind a gate or a whole bunch of bodyguards. You're supposed to be out here talking
With
to people and understanding what the needs are, and then trying to come to a positive solution, which they not going to ever accept my way. That's why I was attacked.
Don't say never. Don't say never.
I was attacked,
but
if you did want to run for office, you could probably be my vice president.
I'll be your VP. I don't want to do all the work anyway. I just want to run around in a helicopter and look cool. You got a question, sir? No, that's okay. I don't mind reiterating. I'm talking about for the entire nation. What's the easy? Because taxation, right? We get into the weeds. I think we get too far into the weeds when we're talking about who should pay more. And it's a complex system, right? There's no arguing. So how do we simplify it? And I would prefer to abolish the IRS altogether. Would be my preference. And I think that the best way to do that, in my personal opinion, would just be a flat tax. And just no more IRS, no more filing taxes, none of that. There's no more loopholes. There's no more loopholes for billionaires, because we know that they do. They shuttle their stuff offshore. They put it in they hide it in different accounts. They're very crafty, and they have the money to hire the people who know how to manipulate the system. And those same people are writing the codes. Fair question. How do we fund social services? And you're absolutely correct that we should be caring for our most needy. So number one, my argument is government hasn't done a good job. They've demonstrated that they're incapable and incompetent of managing our Social Security funds. We see that every day. And I think that the best way to do that is to deregulate and to open it up and allow people to keep more money, because the average person is very charitable. I'm a very charitable person. I don't know if you are, but when we do that, we open up these private ventures, and these private ventures we find funding for. We see, just like look at GoFundMe's. How many people have been helped out through GoFundMe's? I believe that we can do it, and I'm not just saying using like a GoFundMe for everything. What I'm saying is that I believe that the free market has better ideas that aren't being explored because they're stifled by government regulation. I believe that if we reduce that regulation and we open up the free market and allow people to truly explore their ideas, if you had more money, and let's just say, you know, you're a very generous guy. I would like to do something more for veterans aside from what's being done. So if you or I were to want to run with one of our ideas, it would be far easier for us to do that using our own money and applying that to growing our dream. It does require that.
And I'm sorry I got all excited and y'all.
Oh, you're fine.
Because we know that individual is what's actually causing the destruction of the planet. We have just gone on for hours about how our children are turned into commodities.
Yeah, we got people want to hear more about family law. That's what they're asking.
The whole media identity
Joe Jock thinks that he lives in a nation of idiots. Well, that's not entirely untrue. You do, Joe. There's a lot of men and women asleep at the wheel. There's people that are apathetic to what's happening in this country, and the fact that we're not talking about, as a country, 440,000 missing American children. You know, I'll just bring it. Sir, my original purpose here actually was to talk about family law.
We always talk about that.
Family law?
We always talk about all those missing children too. Like that vigil.
Oh.
Because we care about, you know,
Come on over. You come over. Come on.
we don't have to be right wing or left wing.
Yes, sir.
We don't have to be Democrat or Republican. We have to be caring about we the people.
Of people.
All of we the people. And children are part of we the people.
They're our most important, are they not?
No, they're equally as important as everyone else.
Well, I'm just saying that they're our future, you know, and that we have to preserve our
If
future.
we damage them, then we
for us to have
No,
a
no,
future.
you're
That's
right.
what
They're
I mean.
our
Right.
future, but they're no more important
Right.
than my grandmother
Right.
or your grandmother.
You're correct. You're correct.
Or the littlest grandmothers, right?
I'm just saying that they are the most important thing for the survival of us as a
We're
people.
on the same side.
Right.
We're on the same side.
Right.
All right, brother.
All right, brother.
All right, brother.
Back to why I'm here. Why am I standing in uniform right now?
Cash. Get back over there.
No, it comes down to
440,000 missing American children. That's really what I'm here to talk about.
that destruction in their life.
I'm really here to talk about, and I love the libertarian discussion. I do. I love the discussion on other issues, but the most important thing to me is my kids.
Amen.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here for my children. All of those other issues tie into the welfare of my children, but the most important thing that ties into the welfare of my children is me being able to raise them.
Going back to the beginning, when we left family law, we were talking about how can a father who's done nothing wrong lose their kids, and why does that happen?
Where we need to stay focused on it. And I get distracted. Thanks for bringing me back, Chris. Chris Cole brought me back, and that's why he's along. He knows I get a little ADD, and I get on some other issues that I'm passionate about. Hey, he let me go for a little bit. Donald Trump did make me a promise. At least I take any man who says something to me that's his word, and to me the word is the promise. You don't have to formally say, I promise you I will do this. I would be misleading if I said that. I just take Donald Trump at his word. And his word being that he cared enough to tell me to send him a note. And I sent him the note. I put it in his vice presidential candidate's hand in Milwaukee at an event with just Mike Pence. I was there with a couple other Marine Corps veterans. My buddy Eric Sinderman, he gave Mike Pence one of his challenge coins and reminded Mike Pence about what he had said the week before at the Trump rally that we went to. And in desperation, like many of us, begging and pleading any person that we can to get involved and to say, you can't do this to other human beings. That's ultimately what we want. I'm not here to bash Donald Trump. He is my commander-in-chief. I respect him and his office, even though many people disagree with him and don't. That's their prerogative.
Well, thank God you're not a loser, and I hope that nobody you serve with when you died in service for the country and considered a loser by that loser in office.
Many people have died in service to this nation and just being home. We should not have American citizens considering suicide because they're being kept from their kids. That's just without due process. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the fact that or being homeless. I mean, just like the 14,000 homeless veterans I talked about. Yeah, angle it down. I'm gonna squat down for a minute. I should have brought a chair.
You want to sit on the speaker?
No. You know, the 14,000 homeless veterans in between 2008 and 2010, when surveyed by the Veterans Administration, they stated that their greatest unmet needs were revolving around family courts. They just want to be parents. The majority of these veterans are men, but we have so many moms that are now going through the system and the processes as well. Oh, you're sweet. Thank you. Nothing in here I'm going to break. I'm not fat, but I'm starting to get dad bod, you know. I'm starting to get put a little weight on. But today, I believe there's a sergeant major by the name, I want to say Thomas Paine. That's a magnificent name, by the way. One of our founding fathers. He's supposed to be getting a Medal of Honor today. And that is the highest honor bestowed upon a service member, is to receive the Medal of Honor. I believe he helped to rescue 70 individuals in a nighttime rescue operation in 2015. And what concerns me for him and all soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines and the citizens of this great country, and every other country, but specifically here where I live in my home, that he could get that Medal of Honor today and just as easily go through family court tomorrow and lose all access to his children like what I did. With not having been convicted of any crime. Look at all these, yeah. I mean, you know what those medals are, what they signify? That I just went and did my job. And the medal signifies that my boss did his job. He said, you know what? The guy did a damn good job. We're going to reward him for that. And that's really it. They're important to me because they signify my sacrifices to this country, but they're not more important to me than my children. I would gladly toss these medals over the fence if it meant that I was going to get my kids back. I would let them saw a leg off. At this juncture, if they said, Cash, we'll give you your kids back, but we're going to need a leg, I would ask that they just take the left leg because I kick ass with my right leg, but I would give that one up too. But I'm tired of making sacrifices. I shouldn't have to make more sacrifices than what I've already made to be a dad in this country. Chris, where's my little sign at, bud? It's been over 900 days since I've seen my daughter. It's been over 700 since I've seen my son. You know? And I'm just trying to get somebody to care enough to go, look, hey, I like those grunt style shirts. It's a great facility in Illinois. I toured it. Know the owner. Name's Daniel. That's not an Illinois shirt you're wearing, is it? I couldn't tell. No, that's not Illinois. 20 years military service. Let me show you. 20 years military service to have a judge take my children from me illegally with no due process. Violates all of my constitutional rights, violates my children's constitutional rights. And for 2.5 years, I have not seen or spoken to my daughter. 2.5 years. It has nearly killed me. I can say that definitively. It's nearly killed me. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'll tell you, it only gets worse after time because it's so low on their radar, and they call with joy about their family, their children and grandchildren.
That one's cute.
It's been
Yes,
11 years.
that's a long time, man. 11 years for her, she said. 11 years she hasn't seen her children. And you said you're homeless, ma'am?
Oh, no.
No. You're good now? I'm glad to hear that at least. But in this country, it's kind of a strange paradox where we have people who enjoy their daily lives every single day, and they walk amongst us, and then there's those of us who walk around holding on by a thread, broken by the very government, that says that they love us. If my government loves me, they'll help me to see my children that were illegally taken. If my government loves me, they will take this judge who did this, they will try him for violations of color of law, and they will put him in prison where he belongs. Judges who violate our due process rights and do something as inhumane as taking our children deserve nothing less than life in prison. Nothing less to me. I would never dream of taking another parent or another person's children, ever. And because you wear a robe, it doesn't make you any more right or moral. Because you have a law degree doesn't make you right or moral.
Especially if you ignore it.
What is moral, what is right, and what is just is defending that Constitution against domestic enemies. Wearing my uniform is my shield. So a girl over here behind the camera, she's adorable.
You want to say hi?
Come here.
You want to say hi?
You're gonna say hi?
Can she come on? There's a lot of people watching this. Okay?
She's saying hi to you, Chris. She's adorable.
Say hi right there. Look right here. Look.
Very cute. And as a dad, I miss those moments. I've missed years. I've never gotten to take my daughter to a daddy-daughter dance. Never. Do you think that I want to sit out in front of the White House in my dress uniform and full medals? Do you think that I want to drive thousands of miles over here from my state of Arkansas?
There must be something wrong with you, right?
There must be something wrong. Of course, that's the thing. No judge would just do that.
That beard's crazy.
Yeah. I kept my beard and I kept the long hair because I'm a veteran. I don't want somebody to think that I'm active duty service member, because then they're going to want to arrest me and haul me off and, you know, string up a long list of UCMJ violations that I'm in violation of. But you know what the military's not talking about? They're not talking about how this directly correlates to the 22 veterans a day killing themselves. Our military isn't discussing the root causes. Our nation isn't. We're arbitrarily screaming corruption, government. No, there's specific people. There are specific laws that are being broken.
What are they?
In my case, Judge Salvi of the 19th Judicial Circuit in Illinois violated all Illinois state statutes. He lacked 100% complete jurisdiction. He had zero jurisdiction over my case. My case was in federal court. He reopened my case in an ex parte hearing, which is one which one person's not present. That was me. And in an ex parte hearing, he severed contact with my daughter 2.5 years ago while I was running for governor. You know who didn't talk about it? The Daily Herald, the Chicago Tribune, the Sun Times. You know what they did? Instead of going, sir, hey, we know that you've paid the ex-wife, you know, you're paying over $1,000 a month in child support. We see here in your court paperwork that you've requested equal custody of your children. We see that you're trying to be a dad. You know, they didn't do that. You know what they did? They try to portray me as an incompetent, deadbeat, abusing father. What happened to Brett Kavanaugh happened to me. The difference being is Brett Kavanaugh kept his kids. I haven't seen my children. You know what that is? That's privilege. You know why? He's a judge. It's Brett Kavanaugh. They don't take judges' children. They take citizens like me who lack the economic or educational background to represent themselves adequately against seasoned attorneys. And when you run out of money, You don't run out of hope, and that's the worst thing. I would almost prefer that I ran out of hope first, because then I could go on with my life. If I just ran out of hope, maybe it would stop hurting. But God won't let me do that. God said, nope. I instilled a spirit of a fighter in you. I instilled you with the values inherent to human beings to protect others. I instilled in you a value of honoring your oath to your nation to defend the Constitution against domestic enemies. And for the life of me, I can't let this go. If you've never been forced into position to consider whether or not you need to walk away from your children or not, consider yourself lucky. Consider yourself lucky that you don't wake up in the mornings considering whether or not that's going to be your last day on this earth. America doesn't talk about the 22 veterans a day killing themselves because it's too hard. Because they don't want to face the reality that it is our foreign policy and our domestic policy that has created these issues. They don't want to face the fact and say, we were wrong. Just say it. We were wrong in doing to you what we have done to you. We will change our ways. We will make it better for all people. We will change our legislation. We will not send you overseas to be placed into harm's way when truly the greatest threats to our freedoms are here. And because you swear an oath to the Constitution, we're going to need you to stay home and help defend that Constitution. If we did that, you would not have 22 veterans a day killing themselves. If they didn't have to fight like I've had to fight for their rights to be parents, they wouldn't be sitting on their bedside with a gun considering taking their own life. How many different ways can I say this to my country that if you take our children from us, you are in fact giving us a death sentence? And our prison is right here. I live within a prison that I can't escape. I live within a prison with no walls. I live every single day inside a prison designed and constructed by an industry that destroys our families for billions of dollars. What do you do when you can no longer afford $85,000 now? $85,000 for attorneys. I could have sent, that would have paid for a year of Harvard for my children. I mean, I could have bought me a home. I could actually have a savings account. I haven't had a savings account since I went through family court. I roll in at the end of the month with pennies. Pennies. And if I paid everything I'm court ordered to pay, I sure as hell wouldn't have pennies. I wouldn't have anything. They take everything. You see, the news doesn't want to report this. The mainstream media doesn't want to report it. Why? How much in advertising fees goes from law firms? How many billboards will you drive by on your way out of the city down the interstate and see attorney billboards, attorney ads on TV and television? The media is just as bought and paid for as those in government. Congress is mostly attorneys. Our state houses are mostly attorneys. They protect their industries. They create the same laws that tell me as a veteran, okay, sir, you're a dad in America, and in America, as a father, I want you to know that 85% of full custody goes to moms. 85% of all child support is paid by fathers. The majority of those cycled in and out of debtors' prisons are fathers. They're predominantly fathers living at and below the poverty line, but we're going to portray them as being deadbeats. We're going to portray them as not caring about their children. We're going to paint them with a broad stroke of the brush, and we're going to make sure that they're included into the category of being violent and dangerous and an abuser. We'll use nothing more than allegations because we will lower the standard of evidence to a preponderance inside a family law court where you can obtain an order of protection and ruin a person's life and put them on an uphill battle to fight to see their kids. I was never investigated for any of the things I was accused of. I was never charged with any crime. I've never been convicted of any crime. Yet I've been treated worse than a criminal. An individual serving in a maximum security facility in the state of Illinois has more access to their children than I do. An individual convicted of rape and murder in the state of Illinois in a maximum security facility has greater access to their children than I do. After serving for 20 years, I held a top secret clearance. Riddle me this one. How much sense does it make to give a man a top secret clearance, entrust him with national secrets, and then torture him for years by depriving him of his most God-given basic right to his children? Riddle me that one. Are we concerned for national security, or are we concerned about money? They have all but destroyed my faith in this nation. By a small thread, I hang on. By the men and women who support me in this fight and in this endeavor, it is through them and through their strength that I continue to fight on. Through men like Chris Cole, assigned the every other weekend model. In our nation, we went on believing that dads should just be every other weekend visitors and pay child support. Never believing for one moment that a father could perform just as equally as a mother. We want to leave men and believe because men are big and men are strong and men have muscles that they can survive and they can endure. Let me challenge that thought process. Of the nearly 40,000 suicides a year, over 2/3 of those are men. More than 66% are men. I've lost more than 10 friends to suicide. Only one of those was a woman. None of them should have ever happened. None of them, not one, should have ever happened. And until my commander-in-chief, whoever that is, I don't care who it is, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Joe Jorgensen, I don't care who it is. If they don't address this one issue, then they are failing to address at least 10 other issues that directly correlate with the fatherless effect in this country. When a child grows up absent their biological father, they are far more likely to drop out of high school, making them far more likely to live in poverty, making them far more likely to abuse drugs and commit violent crime. The gang violence in cities like Chicago is as a result of the fatherless effect because of the failed war on drugs. The failed war on drugs is shit policy. Predominantly, most of those men and women have underlying mental health issues that they are self-medicating for, or their economic circumstances were so poor that they went to the black market and they sold drugs to try and provide for themselves and their families. They made a choice. Yes, they did. But they had limited choices. And as men being protectors and providers, that is why men have predominantly been locked up in these prisons. Because it has been the father that has sought to provide in whatever way, shape, or form that they can, because we don't have the opportunity to make excuses on why we can't provide or protect our kids. We have no room for error as fathers. We protect and we provide as God designed us. What does a father do when he is at the end of his legal constraints, fighting to be a dad, when there is no accountability amongst our judiciary? What does that father do then? Where do they go? Where do they turn to? What does that service member do who is deployed when he comes home to his apartment emptied out, his bank account drained, his children drug across the country, denied access to them for years at a time, while his service tells him, suck it up, buttercup, your family didn't come in your fucking sea bag, keep on working? Excuse my language for you children out there. There's nothing pretty about this. There's nothing clean about this. There is blood on the hands of not only our legislators, but the American people for being as apathetic as they have been to the plight of these families. For years, I continued to fight this battle just to be a dad in America, just to be a father. How can it be so incredibly hard in a nation I serve to be a dad? How many of you know somebody who's been drugged through the same court systems as I have? How many of you know of businesses bankrupted and family members destroyed? How many of you have sat there and you didn't know what to do for your family as you watched them struggle in and out every single day, not seeing their children, being bankrupted? How many of you walk by somebody sitting on a street corner right now who has been made homeless by a judicial system that only cares about billions in profits? And it drove a veteran like myself into debtors' prisons and homelessness and a cycle of incarceration and living on the streets. I don't need anger management. I need my children. I don't need medication for depression. I need my children. I don't need services from the Veterans Administration. I need my children. How many different ways can I stand up here and come to this Capitol and hold a sign of 913 days since I've seen my daughter? Live in my shoes for one day. One. And our country's so apathetic. Why shouldn't I be fucking mad? Tell me why I shouldn't be angry when I spent $300 to drive across the country to talk to my president who told me in 2016 that he cared about me. Why shouldn't I be mad? I should be fucking mad, and the fact that you're not is what really concerns me. I don't agree with everything that Black Lives Matter as a movement has to say, but I understand their anger, I understand their frustration, I understand their desire for change and that they're tired of asking. I understand these things. I understand them. I'm tired. I'm angry. I'm mad. I want to be a fucking dad in my country. All of these medals mean nothing without my children, because under these medals is the one thing you can't take from me. That is my heart. It is all that I am. It's all pain. His trauma. His trauma being caused at the hands of my state. I want my suffering to stop. That man hurts. We're men. We're not robots. We're not robots. We weren't made to live like this. I got no quarrel with anybody on the left. I got no quarrel with nobody on the right. I got quarrel with the people who want to deny me my God-given rights. That's who I've got quarrel with. I got quarrels with Judge Salvi. I got quarrel with Judge Christensen. I've got quarrel with all of these judges and all of these attorneys that can say whatever they want about us. They can defame us and destroy us with no evidence. That is not America. America jurisprudence is founded on the principles that you are innocent until proven guilty. But with no evidence, with no finding, with no nothing other than a vendetta because I spoke out. Where are the whistleblower protections for men, for fathers like me? Where are my protections for my children? Where do they exist? Whistleblower protections. Until you blow the whistle. Once you blow the whistle, then you're done. Now you've got a gigantic target on you. And now, where do we go? I don't know. What's the next step? Let me tell you what I won't do. I won't harm people that haven't harmed me. I will never harm another person that has never harmed me. I will never harm a private business that had nothing to do with stealing my rights. But I will fight like hell against anybody in office that abuses their oath, that steals our children for profit. I will never stop in this fight and in this endeavor. I will never stop. My children are worth it. That little girl right there is worth it. Your families are worth it. The future of our nation is dependent upon our ability to set aside our apathy and defend those who can't defend themselves. God made me as a protector. That's how I'm designed. I am designed to protect those that can't protect themselves. He made me to provide. I have always provided for my children. The fact that I can't pay $2,000 to $2,500 a month in child support doesn't make me a deadbeat dad. It makes me dead fucking broke. And that man, Biden, is just as guilty. He signed the legislation that made it happen. He shouldn't be running for office either. He didn't take my children. Here's the one thing I'm going to say. I don't entirely, because I believe some of that was taken out of context. I'm not going to get into who I support. Here's what I know, is that Joe Biden signed the legislation. Donald Trump didn't. The legislation existed, and what I'm talking about the issue, hold on, sir, let me just finish. The issue I care about existed before Donald Trump ever set foot in office, before that man was ever there. Now, I talked to this man in 2016, and I have it, hold on, I have it on video. I talked to our commander-in-chief on video in 2016 while he was campaigning about this issue. He said, send me a note, right? I've got it on video. He said, send me a note. Well, of course, we know it's not easy to send anybody a note who's running for president, especially if it's Donald Trump. But I did. I gave that note to Mike Pence. It's on my page, Kash Jacksone. I put that note in Mike Pence's hands. And so all I've asked for is for them to get involved and just keep their word. If you tell me that it's important, that's all that I'm asking for. Nobody has kept their word. I'm not going to say that he's lying to me. I'm trying to give him the opportunity right now.
He had 30 years.
He had 30 years. 4.
We do have.
Yep, go ahead. That guy signed the legislation. I don't think that he is, no. In my personal opinion, I don't believe that he is. I'm not part of the problem because I'm trying to change the legislation. Whether or not I agree with him, here's the thing. Well, let me tell you this. There's a third option. What? Because I don't believe that he is. You're wanting me to say something that I don't entirely agree with. Here's what I know. Joe Jorgensen is also running for president. You've got a third option. I've got a third option. The people have a third option. Yeah, you can go green.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
I'm voting libertarian. Yeah.
He is.
He is. He is too, but he doesn't agree. I agree with you.
I just don't. He agrees with you. I just don't agree.
And he doesnn't agree.
Let me tell you. I've got more personal reasons on why I don't agree with you. He gave hold on, listen. Donald Trump gave and paid for my buddy's father's cancer treatments. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that. Right? Does he make? And I'm just saying, so I've got more personal reasons on why, and I've seen more personal examples on why I don't think that he's a piece of shit as you believe.
And their families also have why that guy is not just in terms of what he said about the military.
I'd say most.
I haven't seen any evidence of that. I heard what he said about John McCain, and I have my issues with John McCain. He didn't apply that to all military.
Family law.
Do you have evidence of that? That's all I'm asking. Do you have evidence of it?
He actually said that he tried to downplay COVID. He tried to downplay it. He tried to have over 20,000 people dead. Could have been held. God, around the world, and now they touched the and he said that's criminal. That's criminal.
Hold on.
And he could have helped that. And the fact that you don't acknowledge.
I don't. Let me say this. I don't think that Donald Trump took it seriously enough initially. I will say that. I said as seriously as he should have. Not that he didn't take it seriously.
He took it seriously on tape, but to the American people.
Do you think that you need to wear that mask?
He sold us out.
We're not here to do politics, though.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Yeah, I don't want to do a lot of politics. I'm here to talk about kids. And Joe Biden, he signed the legislation. Joe Biden signed the legislation. Let's meet in the middle. Let's meet in the middle and go libertarian. You want to do that? Oh, that's right. I will acknowledge the bad things. Will you acknowledge the good things that he's done as well? Will you acknowledge like the right to try law that he signed? He signed some good legislation. Biden, no. Not. Of course. No, he didn't. Libertarians did. No, libertarians did. You know what Biden did? You know what Biden did? Biden. Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, as well as the Republican Party, is guilty of this. Both parties are guilty of going and grabbing at their convenience because we have Hillary Clinton and other prominent Democrats on tape opposing gay marriage, do we not? That's historically accurate. Libertarians have long fought for gay marriage and to get government out. Right? They take what's politically convenient.
Yeah.
Republicans do the same thing.
Yeah.
They both do it. What's right? What's
Yeah.
politically convenient? Right. Would you vote for me? Would you vote for me if I ran for president? Yes. I won't vote for you. It's a rabbit hole, but specifically, hold on. Specifically, Biden's tied to the legislation that's impacted me and my family and our children, and that's what I'm addressing.
Let's get rid of them all.
I'm going borderline anarchist as I get older. I'm like, I just don't want anybody telling me what to do. You know, I just. He didn't do me a solid. He did my buddy's dad a solid, which I thought was a good thing. Did you see the bus driver here? There was a bus driver here, the black bus driver that pulled the lady. I think it was a lady off the bridge. He gave him $10,000 too, I think. He's done some good things. That guy's had 30 years of turning the country upside down. Yeah. So are you going to vote for him, or are you going to vote for him, or no, Biden? Are you going to vote for Biden? He's not going to. That's a long rabbit hole. I don't want to go down it. You know what the majority of the country want? They want dads to have equal access to their kids.
Yeah.
They want that. That's overwhelming. Of course it does. So who are we arguing for? We're not arguing for shitty fathers. Nobody in their right mind would argue for shitty dads.
Shitty dads don't come to the White House arguing about.
Shitty dads don't come to the White House and go, I want to be a dad. I want to be a father to
No,
my
they
kids.
don't.
Right. What's the standard?
What's the standard?
What's the standard? No. There's a legal standard to be found unfit. It's clear and convincing. Right.
Sure.
Right. Sure. But we're not here arguing for that. We're saying.
And we're not coke addicts.
Do you think the majority of people are coke addicts? The majority of dads are coke addicts? No. You're arguing for a very small subsection. You're right. You're right. And that's what I'm saying. That's what we're arguing for, is that there is a legal standard in this country in every single state before you can infringe upon parental rights. There's an actual legal, you look very familiar, don't you? You look like one of my old recruits. Sorry. I couldn't tell with the phone up here like this. There's a legal standard in America before you can take somebody's children from them, right? There is a legal standard that says, by a clear and convincing standard, the state must meet this standard before they can infringe upon parental rights. But okay, let me ask you. You're correct. Okay, so let's go here. All right, here we got. Here's Arkansas. I'm standing in Arkansas right now. Here's a line. Here's Missouri. Do my rights dissipate based on that imaginary line? No. No. These are human rights.
These are human rights. Drugs and parenthood are two different things. The Constitution of the United States supersedes the state.
Right.
Federal law supersedes state law.
Yes.
Every time.
All the time.
Every time. Not for parenting.
Not for parenting. That's a constitutional right. It's not ingrained specifically.
That's convenient, isn't it? Easy to steal children that way, isn't it?
Could we just agree? Could we just agree that the state can't arbitrarily take kids with no good finding of unfitness? Yes. Okay, if we took 10 people here, if we took 15 people, if I told you guys that I smoke cannabis to treat major depression, so I smoke cannabis to treat major depression, okay? I've got major depressive disorder. My major depressive disorder, we're going to ask. No, I'm just asking a question. Should I lose my children because I smoke cannabis to treat depression? No. Thank you. Okay.
But you could take Adderall or
right.
Another drug that they
VA
say
can
is
pump
legal.
Me full of pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
All right. The VA can pump me full of opiates. That's okay. But if I smoke cannabis,
because Big Pharma has bought.
Yeah, if I smoke cannabis, though, they're prescribed by the Veterans Administration. If you abuse them, right? Are you Here's the thing. If the state can't show that you're an immediate threat or an endangerment to your kids, then they have no grounds to take your children. Point blank. Point blank. If the state cannot show by a clear and convincing standard, which is beyond reasonable doubt, we have to have a legal standard to hold the state to. My human rights to my children don't dissipate based on imaginary lines. I don't care if I go to communist China. My rights as a father don't dissipate, period. Because the state illegally took them. They broke the law. And because the judge has judicial immunity. I wish it were so easy, sir. Read that number. $75,000 in attorney fees. How much are my kids worth? You know what we call that when you got to pay for kids? You know what that's called? Human fucking trafficking, brother. Human trafficking. They don't. Oh no, it's not a law I have to abide by. It's unconstitutional. It is repugnant to us as a country. Of course they would, and that doesn't make it moral, and that doesn't make it legal. If Rosa Parks went to the front of the bus and said, "I'm sitting in the front of the damn bus," it might be illegal, but it is immoral for them to incarcerate her. It is immoral to incarcerate her. What? We do. We're talking about kids. 440,000 missing American children. You seen any? 440,000. Have you seen any of them? Missing. 440,000 missing American children. 440,000, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. I'm here to talk about it. I'm here to talk about it, and we've talked about it for quite a while. I don't know. You want to go to the Veterans Administration? These guys are probably tired of hearing me ramble. You've been around Ford for a long time. I appreciate you. Yes, sir. Yep. Almost 8,000 veterans a year kill themselves. I didn't understand you with the mask.
You don't understand anything.
Are your shorts constricting your midsection?
Brother, he's not saying anything wrong here.
About
He's actually,
yes. Don't wear brown socks with vanilla shoes.
You understand.
Yeah.
He's basically
You're
saying,
never know. You're more than goddamn
he's not saying anything
Bye, Felicia.
wrong, sir.
Karen, your cats are calling you.
Give Mr. Jackson a seat.
All right, I don't know what he was going on about. I have no idea. I think we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Well, there's still 280 people watching.
I know. You
What
want
are
to
you
tell
guys
them that
doing?
we're going to come back somewhere else?
So we're probably gonna disappear, go grab some lunch. I might need some deodorant. I've sweated quite a bit, and we've had some great discussion. There's been some great dialogue out here. Donald Trump, I defended you. It's time you got your ass down here and defended me. I would be, man. I'd be on that helicopter doing circles over the ocean.
Tell them bye. We'll talk to them in a little bit.
All right, we're going to get out of here. If you guys want to support us, please do. Go to Kash Jacksone and sign up, be a supporter. This is what we do. We're fighting for parental rights all across the country. Chris Cole is my right-hand man. He's here assisting me. He's relegated to every other weekend, like many fathers in this country. It's bullshit. I'm fighting for Chris, for his kids. I'm fighting for this lady over here who lost her kids 11 years ago. I'm fighting for all of those who have lost their children to Child Protective Services that came in and illegally violated due process rights and took those kids. Man, both of them. Blue ones and red ones. That's who did it. D's and R's.
All right.
And they're all guilty.
We'll see you guys later.
We're out of here.